we will continue to discuss rotary converters, specifically the armature winding of rotary converters in this video. This is going to be more a theoretical session, and I hope you already watched the part 11 video of rotary converter. It's a mandatory thing before you are going to see this video. What a rotary converter do? Actually, it is a single machine which can convert AC to DC or DC to AC. AC to DC will be known as rotary converter, and the conversion of DC to AC, it will be known as what? It will be known as rotary inverter. Widely used item it is rotary converter. Here we are seeing a single phase rotary converter machine. This side it will be known as AC side, which is having slip rings, and this side it is known as DC side, which is having commutator segments, and output we can take DC. If we are taking output, it will be known as rotary converter. And in other case, if we are sending DC here and we are taking AC output here, it will be known as rotary inverter. Generally, rotary converter AC to DC is widely used. Theoretically, it can be converted in both sides, and for practical conditions, some modification may be required for converting as a rotary inverter. And in the machine, we know there will be a pole which is field pole. Field pole will be supplied by the DC as if in our DC generators. And additionally, what happens, there is a armature winding. It can be of lap winding or wave winding as in a DC generator, and DC output will be taken as usual from the DC armature, and to the equipotential points we will be supplying AC. It can be single phase AC or three phase AC also. And additionally, you will be seeing damping winding on the pole shoes. Why? We have already discussed in the part 11 video in the operation part. We will be detailedly discussing about the slip rings, and in the DC AC side we need slip ring. How many number of slip rings are required? For single phase rotary converter, 2 slip rings, that is phase and neutral, will be coming, and there will be 2 slip rings. We can easily understand by logic. And in the 3-phase rotary converter, if it is 3 phase, what happens? We need 3 slip rings. 3 phases, 3 slip rings. And the difference is we'll be using 6 or 12 slip rings, not 3 slip rings. So if you are going for 6 or 12 slip rings, what does it mean? It will be 6 phase or 12 phase. Generally, we are not using 6 phase or 12 phase supply, we know, but for rotary converters, it will be better to use 6 phase or 12 phase supply. How and why? Actually, 3 phase rotary converter, it will be comparatively bigger compared to what? Compared to 6 phase or 12 phase. So to reduce the size, it will be easy to use 6 or 12 phase rotary converter. It will be smaller in size. And what you use 6 phase or 12 phase supply. We are generally not using this 6 phase or 12 phase supply at all. Where will we getting from this 6 phase or 12 phase supply? Yes, we have to put a input transformer where we'll be getting 3 phase input, only our normal 3 phase input, and that secondary of the transformer will be converted to 6 phase or 12 phase suitably, so that we can use 6 phase rotary converter or 12 phase rotary converter. Now we are going in deep into the armature winding details. A DC generator have what type of windings? Lap winding and wave windings. Same thing happens here. It will be lap or wave. Let us go to windings, and here you will be able to see AC input is given through slip rings, and DC output is taken from the commutator through brushes output. This is the winding, a single armature winding. Input is there AC, output is there DC. And we are first discussing about the lap winding. And generally mostly the rotary converters are wound with lap winding. And as we know, how many parallel path will be there in the lap wound armature? It is the number of poles. How many number of poles are there? That much parallel path will be there. If 2 poles, 2 parallel path. If 4 poles, 4 parallel path, like that. So hence we can say the number of equipotential points on the armature, it will be equal to number of pair of poles. Is it? We already studied in our DC generator part. And how much number of tappings we have to take from for each slip ring? That is calculated as number of pair of poles into number of slip rings. And one condition is there. For 3-phase lap wound rotary converter, the number of armature conductor per pole, it should be divisible by 3 for the proper winding condition. And we'll be seeing the parallel path. Actually, it is a 4-pole lap wound armature, and we are having DC output, and here this brush is positive, this brush is positive, and this is negative, and this is negative. What does it mean? This is having 4 parallel paths. 4-pole machine will be having 4 parallel path. So this will be having 1 parallel path, and this is another, this is another, and this is another. In other words, we are shorting output of positive from here, and it will be joined here and going out. And similarly, this negative and negative and shorted and taken output. So we can say physically 4 parallel paths are available. Okay. Now we are just getting the numbers of tappings from the formula previously discussed. Number of tapping to each slip ring, we can say it is a number of pair of poles and number of slip rings. We are getting a table here. The machine type, whether it is single phase or 3-phase, will be discussed, and how many number of poles, what will be the number of pair of poles from the second data, and number of slip rings available depending on 3-phase or single phase, and we are having the calculation of number of tappings. Let us go for the single phase machine. It is a single phase machine which is having 2 poles. 2 poles means 1 pair of poles. And for a single phase machine, how much slip rings will be there? For phase and neutral, 1 each. So 2. So 2 slip rings. And we will be able to calculate 1 into 2. These 2 terms. So we will be getting the total number of tappings as 2. This is the equation. Number of tappings into number of pair of poles into number of slip rings. Now we will be considering a single phase machine with 4 poles, means 2 pair of poles. So 2 into 2 will be getting 4 number of tappings will be there. One more calculation is about 3-phase. 3-phase 2-pole machine, and it will be having 1 pair of pole, and there are 3 slip rings for 3 phases, and we will be getting 1 into 3. 3 tappings will be there for the input AC. And 3-phase 6-pole machine. 6-pole means 3 pair of poles, and we are having 3 slip rings again. 3-phase supply RYB or L1, L2, L3, like we'll be getting 3 separate slip rings. 3 into 3 will be getting 9 tappings in the armature winding, and this is the case where the winding is lap. Generally, almost all winding will be lap. Few cases are with wave, and in wave winding what happens? It will be having only 2 parallel path irrespective of number of poles. So let us see what is happening in the wave winding machine, not lap, wave winding machine. We will be telling again the type of machine. Now the angle between tappings and number of slip rings required and number of tappings required. It is a single phase machine which is having 2 slip rings. Why? A single phase machine, phase and neutral will be there, the 2 slip rings, and number of tappings will be 2. And angle between tappings has to be 180-degree electrical. And a 3-phase machine, if it is considered, it will be having 3 slip rings because of 3 lines, 3 slip rings, and number of tappings obviously it will be occurring 3 tappings, and it is 120-degree electrical between each tapping. And for a 6-phase machine, we can say there will be 6 slip rings. For 6 phases, slip rings, and obviously that much taps. So how many pair of poles? And it is independent of poles because it is wave winding. There is no condition of poles here. It is only the phase type machine, and the number of slip rings are directly given. And for a 12 phase machine, we will be having 12 slip rings, and obviously it is requiring 12 number of tappings. With each tapping will be having a distance of 30 degree electrical. 30 into 12 will be getting 360 degree totally.